video, I'm going to show you a short little routine that you can do when you're sat on a chair at your desk, just to encourage a little bit of movement through your day. So to begin with, you're sitting nice and comfortably. We're going to take the stretch through for the neck and the shoulders. So sitting comfortably, ears stacked over shoulders, imagining your head's on a shelf. We're going to take our stretch over to stretch through that trap. But as you're taking the tilt of the head to the side, I want you to imagine someone's pulling on your ear, so they're lifting your head up as you tilt over. So that will create the stretch slightly higher than if you were to just let the head tip right over into sort of the neck itself. And I find this is quite a nice little modification in order to target that muscles if they're tight in the neck, because necks don't tend to like too strong a stretching. And I just find this little tweak of a cue can be quite effective to get the stretch in the neck. Bringing yourself to centre, and we'll do exactly the same. So imagining someone's lifting you up by the ear as you tip over the other way. And you'll want to hold it sort of somewhere between 30 seconds to a minute. And then what you can do is you can encourage a little bit of movement. So as if you're going to look down towards the floor, so you're sniffing your armpits, you're creating the stretch a little bit more through the back of the neck. And then you can take it over to the other side. Again, imagining that lift up of the ear, looking to the floor, sniffing that armpit, so you feel the stretch through the back of the neck. And again, you'll want to hold these sort of roughly between 30 seconds to a minute. Then moving on, we're going to look at opening the chest, especially if we've been sat at a desk. We'll quite commonly be in this rounded type position. So all I want you to do, sit with your arms against your back against the chair. We're just going to take the arms behind the chair, interlocking those fingers, keeping the back flat against the chair where possible, looking forward if you can, reaching for more for the wrists rather than the fingers, just so that you're feeling that opening sort of through the chest here. And it will be targeting that pec muscle, particularly into those lower fibres of the chest, like so. Again, you'll want to hold it to sort of 30 seconds to a minute. But we also want to target some of the higher fibres, so those upper fibres of the pec. So again, with the back flat against the chest, all we're going to do is raise those arms up, interlock them between the behind your head, squeeze those shoulders below, so you're pulling those elbows back, creating that opening across the chest, like so. And then we're going to move on to sort of creating a bit of rotation through the spine. So as you're seated, all we're going to do is take the reach behind. If you want, you can cross the legs if you want for a slight stretch through the whole of the back, or you can just keep it with the legs uncrossed as you look, taking that twist one way, and then again the other as you're reaching and twisting behind you. And you want to be holding that for about 30 seconds to a minute. Next one is looking in, again, just opening around that upper back and shoulder when you're sat at a desk. This one works really well if you've got the roller chairs, because you can slide away from your surface area slightly easier than on a static chair. And what you'll want is to have something to rest your arms on. So if you're using a lot of space in front of you on the desk, you can do it with bent arms, or like you can see, I've got my little coffee table here and then all you're going to do is I'm going to come down to the floor, but you would be able to do this on a desk if your desk was higher than what I have, and then you'll rest your hands on your side, sliding yourself away, bringing your chest between your shoulders, and creating the stretch like so. If you want, you can also walk your hands over one way, and again bringing the head and chest towards the floor, and then rotate the other way like so. And you can do that when you're seated at your desk, a slight modified child pose. The next one we're moving on to is coming down onto that lower body and getting a bit of movement through the back. So we're looking at that cat-cow type movement. So again, as you're seated, you can go into that sitting upright, so you're really sort of arching through your back. And then you can come around and slump into the chair. and you're working back and forth between these movements, like so. Creating that movement through the pelvis and the spine. And I would do sort of 10 to 15 reps of these to create movement through the back. That's it. And then moving into stretching sort of through for the hip and upper leg area, you can come and do the what's known as your Piriformis stretch. So you can bring one leg over onto the other. Now if this is a strong enough stretch for you as it is, hold it here, and you're holding for about 30 seconds to a minute. If you want more, you can bring that lean forward, and you should feel this in the glute around that lateral hip and the outer leg. Like so, and then you would do the same, but on the opposite side. Good. We're moving down to that upper leg now. So we're going to have, all we're going to do is bring one leg out in front, and we can stretch down to reach the toes, creating that hamstring stretch. If you want, you can do 2 at a time. And again, we're stretching down through those hamstrings as you straighten those legs out, like so. And again, you'd hold it for about 30 seconds to a minute. To get a bit of movement through the hips and the quad stretch, what you'll want to do, because you're seated, this isn't going to be the strongest of stretches. This is better when you're standing because you'll have the extension better at the hip, but you can still get a little bit of movement targeting through from the knee end at least. So you'll want to shimmy towards the front of your chair, but not so too far off that you fall off. And then if you can, you're going to basically tuck the leg either underneath you or to the side of your chair, whichever position is easier for you, and letting that knee drop towards the floor, like so. And the further back you can get it, the more that you'll get that straightening and stretching through the quad leg muscle. And if you were going to the side, it would look more like so. And again, you'll hold it to 30 seconds to a minute. Scooting back onto the chair so it's comfortable. The last one I'm going to show you is just to get a bit of movement through the foot, and you can sit and rotate those ankles in one direction and then the other, like so. So that's a little routine that you can do. You don't have to do all of the movements, you might find some of them are helpful, but picking and choosing of what you need depending on where you're feeling tight. And as a little bonus, if you're really feeling it sort of in the forearms and stuff, particularly if you've been doing a lot of computer work, you can use your desk and basically place the hand so that you're palm down, and just gently rotate yourself and move yourself over your hand, like so. Or tucking it so that your palm up so that the back of the hand is against the table, and again just a little movement like so, which will create the stretch through the forearm for you. So there's a little bonus for you if you needed. So hopefully you find those movements helpful and scatter those in throughout the day, and you should be able to just increase that little bit of movement even when you're stuck at the desk.